Let's go. Turn me up. They say, really, ain't no party like a cowboy party. Well, let's talk about this Law Nation one. Appreciate everybody for jumping in and being part of this information that rules the nation. If this is your first time here, be sure to kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Let's get it down. Let's get down to the Law Nation beat. Let's go. Jason Garrett time, huh? For your mind. Advice to Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Shout out to Rich Eisen. This is where you can find the full interview or what have you. We're gonna snip it and talk about it. Let's go. They say ain't no party like a cowboy party. Yeah. Let's grind, baby. If you missed the nation, let me know. Say, man, Law, I missed you yesterday, man. What happened to the no days off? No days off. What happened to it? Come on. My little one, she had her birthday yesterday. And trust me, she had a blast. We all had a blast. She turned 2. Y'all know about those 2s, right? Let's go. Come on. All right. Let's get this thing going the best way possible. Hate, hope, hate, hope. All right. Really appreciate y'all. One love to all. Shout out to all of the real ones out there. Appreciate you guys for rewinding and watching all of the good stuff and anything in between. The Cowboys, always the area of topic, just like when they said, hey, man, they're going to miss out on a few training days and get an early vacation. There's been Cowboy news every single day since that time frame, right? Shout out to you, Troy. Shout out to you, Eddie. And shout out to you, Henry. So shout out to all of you guys. We had an event Friday. So I got a chance to talk to Coach Skip Peak, George Teague. I had a chance and an opportunity to talk to the legend Everson Walls. Y'all know that's the reason why I followed the Cowboys or fell in love with the Cowboys, because of his play altogether. Also, I got a chance to talk to Nick Ralston. Yeah, Nick Ralston. So we got some things that's going to be put into the fire with him and his content and the things that he do. So shout out to Nick Ralston, the fullback, and he recognized the great thing about this, no cap, he recognized me before I recognized him. He was like, yeah, that's the man with the voice. And I looked around. He said, Law Nation. That's a big boy, man, pulling 18-wheelers. He gave me some insights on Tyler Smith. He said that Tyler Smith is a bad mama jammer. And I was saying, like, Nick, you pull trucks, 18-wheelers, and I seen the clips of Tyler Smith pushing a truck, maybe a F-150. You need to get him on those 18-wheelers, and he said he will. So shout out to you, Mr. Stewart. He says you're famous, man. Oh, man. I try to be. I was playing. And shout out to Eddie at the Omni, man. Appreciate you. Eddie at the Omni over there in Star and Frisco, I appreciate you, man. Just keep them coming. You already know what I'm talking about, Eddie. I really, really appreciate you. Look, Eddie gonna fool around and get me in trouble out that way, but that's a story of a different day. Shout out to you, Vlogs. Appreciate you for jumping in. Shout out to the Aladdin. the Magic. I'm going to have to update you to be the troll of this particular week. But neither here nor there. Let's get right into the content. Advice. AL said advice. Advice. Yeah, he got some advice out here, man. For the good old coach got advice for Mike McCarthy. Let me put y'all comments up. I think that would work. Put that up there right there. All right, Cowboy Nation, let's get this thing on the road.
Just hop on your cell phone and do stuff like that. I mean, that could be that, Jason.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm not that seasoned veteran that you are.
You know what, Jason? I can help with that sort of stuff from now on for you. Congratulations on that gig with NBC. Congrats on that.
Yeah, really excited about it, Rich. I had the opportunity to do these USFL games all spring with the crew from NBC, and I just can't tell you how impressed I am with everybody at NBC. It's been an incredible experience right from the get-go, and to have the opportunity to continue that this fall is really exciting for me.
And so what is your plan this fall? What exactly are you going to be doing with NBC this fall? I think I know, but I'll just let you reveal what you got.
Yeah, I'm going to be part of the Sunday night show, Football Night in America, with Coach Dungy and Maria Taylor and Chris Sims and the whole crew that they have up there. And again, it's an extension of the work I've done in the USFL. And I've gotten to know those guys really well through the years because with the Cowboys we were always playing 3 Sunday night games, so they became friends of mine, and just to have the opportunity to work with them again, both in the USFL and now in the fall, is exciting.
Yeah, I know.
No. Well, Cowboy Nation. Guess who gonna call game 1? Guess who gonna call game 1? So with that being said, about him joining the NBC crew, and when you look it up, NBC got game 1, the rights to call game 1. So you're going to be hearing Jason Garrett going over the plays, giving his analysis. And one thing I can tell you from the USFL, Jason Garrett calling games, it was refreshing. He's really, look, no shade at Jason Garrett as far as the other things that he did, what have you, through his coaching career. But Jason Garrett is really good. He's really good as it relates to calling those particular plays with his analysis and input. So you're going to see Jason Garrett calling those plays. So let me say this again. So let's go.
Oh, and you've got 3 Cowboys Sunday night football games already on the docket. You know how things can get flexed around as well and flexed into right off the bat, Dallas and Tampa. And so, obviously you are going to be asked to be analytical and sometimes critical of the Dallas Cowboys or anybody that you may know and appreciate, certainly the Giants organization as well. What is your take on what the Cowboys have done this offseason? My opinion is that they haven't taken a step forward. They've taken a step back. What are your thoughts on the subject matter, Jason?
Well, first of all, they had an awfully good year last year, and they didn't get the job done against San Francisco in the playoff game, and so the starting point is probably it's a really good football team, and I know many of those guys. We drafted many of them, and I know the kind of men they have in that locker room and the leaders they have in that locker room, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to respond the right way. One of the things that's been really impressive to me about the organization and that team is, they've continued the off-season program, the work ethic that has been such a big part of that program. This past year, you hear stories about everybody being there, 100% attendance all throughout the off-season program. And again, I know Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, all those guys that they have been the cornerstone players on that team. So they'll respond the right way. The business of football is challenging. As we all know, you get these big-time players, and they have opportunities to go elsewhere in free agency, and it's hard to keep everybody. So sometimes people will look at that and say, hey, boy, there's this mass exodus. I don't know about that. I know they got a lot of really good cornerstone players there who've been great players for a long time, and they're excited about the young players they have. So I wouldn't bet against this team.
So what
he said he wouldn't bet against his team. All right, so my thing is with this Cowboy Nation, shout out to Jason Garrett and shout out to Rich Eisen, man, for all offseason getting these conversations with current players and ex-Cowboy players and also with ex-Cowboys coaches or what have you. Shout out to Rich Eisen for doing a wonderful job on his podcast and his station. Shout out to him. Give him a round of applause, by the way, Cowboy Nation. So my thing is, I get it, right? 100% off-season workout or what have you when it was mandatory. Now, in the voluntary situation, we know that the Cowboys, and I said in a couple of weeks, we would know whether or not they're going to fold to Dalton Schultz or they're going to just sit there and say, nah, dog, look, we made Prescott play on that franchise tag. Excuse me, we made DeMarcus Lawrence play on that franchise tag. What makes you different, right? So that will be a situation that we all will be sitting back watching, eating our oodles and noodles and seeing whether or not he's going to be out there. I think he's going to be out there because the new CBA agreement make it such a difficult thing to do to miss out on some of these mandatory camps or what have you. And the money cannot be paid back from the Cowboys organization and staff. So that's the situation in half, right? Now, I can think that a third of you guys would say to yourself, you never saw Dalton Schultz doing this, right? You thought Dalton Schultz was the guy that would say, okay, you know what, I would prove everybody wrong once again that I am the best tight end, not just in the Cowboys uniform, but one of the best in the NFL, and I'm going to play on his franchise tag. But no, he turned a switch around on everyone. But neither here nor there. He's the only guy that got trepidations on this team as it relates to his money. But everybody else is going back into this and saying, okay, we want to make sure that we can get back to the playoffs. That should be the mindset and the mental makeup of this team, getting back to the playoffs. This Dallas Cowboys team, if they really want to establish, hear me out, if they really want to establish something, they got to at least be consistent. And I ain't talking about 8-8, 8-8, 8-8 type of vibe that we had in the past when this coach was coaching, Jason Garrett. And I'm definitely not talking about you have a good season and then you have a bad season, then you have a good season. No, they're going to have to start matching things together. And if you guys heard me all off season, everybody saying, hey, Law, Cowboys going to the Super Bowl, Cowboys going to do. No, I just want the Cowboys to get back to the playoffs. Win a playoff game, and then I set you guys up with more expectations from there. But their mindset should be, we getting back to the playoff, and we're going to finish what we started last season. That should be the mindset. Shout out to you, Swain. Appreciate you for jumping in. Shout out to you, Coach Marv. Shout out to you, Daz. Appreciate you for jumping in. Who was alive last time Dallas won the Super Bowls? A lot of people was alive. But I get it. People want to go about saying, okay, when the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl? Well, my brother, who is a diehard 49er fan, it's been just as long as for them. And he do not count the time that they go to the Super Bowl to lose it. So if the legacy of the Cowboys been that it's been 26 or 27 years, it's been at least 28 years for the 49ers. And it's worse to get all the way there to trip and fall and land on your head, right? Right? It's crazy to go all the way there. Like Cincinnati, right now, they can fly clearly under the radar because nobody talk about the Cincinnati. But I'm quite sure that pain of getting all the way to the Super Bowl to ultimately hold the L, you the first loser out of everything. If you get all the way there, yeah, you made it, but you lost, right? There's nothing to bring or brag home and talk about with that put that L on your face. So it's either you win it all or nothing. Right? But some people don't understand that. And for the few Eagles fans that's watching right now, you see how fast the years go by? 2017 been 5 years now. Before you know it, you scratch your head and look up, it'll be a whole 20 years. Or in other terms, it may be 50 for you guys. Let that sink in.
What advice would you give Mike McCarthy? I know he's got a trophy in the case. He's been around quite a bit and has his own frame of reference. But Dan Quinn is sitting there, defensive coordinator, and Jerry's already even said publicly, like, so many defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators stick around because they know they have a shot at the job eventually, using your name, even in that soundbite, to prove a point that's why Dan Quinn stuck around. And McCarthy still has the job, even though a vote of confidence was just given by Jerry moments a couple days ago because of Sean Payton's name. So what advice would you give Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett,
what
having
advice?
been in that position yourself for as long as you
got?
Well, I think the biggest thing for any head coach and really for any player in the NFL is really just focus on yourself and what you need to do to be your best. And I know that's a cliche, and everyone thinks that, well, that's coach speak and all of that, but it's so true, and it's so true certainly in a place like Dallas. There's a lot of people who make their living speculating about things and digging things up and stirring things up. That's just the world that we live in. The days of Walter Cronkite telling you the news as it is, at 6 o'clock every weekday evening, those are long gone. It's 24-hour news cycles, and we're trying to stir the pot. And so when you're in those roles, you have to just really focus on what you need to do to be your best. And this was a theme that we tried to use with all of our players through the years. Players getting into Twitter wars and all of this kind of stuff. It's like, hey, let's just lock in on what we need to do each day to be our best. And when you're preaching that message to your team, sometimes you got to preach it to yourself.
Ooh. Jason, that's good. That's good advice. He said lock in. One thing I can tell you guys, true story. Outside of a few players, Jason Garrett never lost the entire locker room. Let me repeat, true story. Jason Garrett never lost the entire locker room. So he know how to reach into players. And I'm not putting lipstick on a pig because we all know, naturally, looking back at his resume, we had to understand that this guy got the job in 2010. He'd been here 2.5 years before that time frame. Rapid promotion from an OC all the way up to the head coach with no levels of real experience outside of playing the game. And one thing I can tell y'all, beautiful people that's watching, because I believe all of y'all are beautiful, we had to know that there was going to be some growing pains. Let's listen to more what he has to say.
And you got to say, hey, everything that I'm trying to share with these guys to help them individually be their best, to help our team be its best, sometimes you got to say, hey, I got to remind myself of those things. And not that you think about it a lot, but you're asked about it a lot. And so you just kind of lock in and say, hey, this is what I need to do to be my best today. Mike obviously is a fantastic coach, has been for a long time. He understands the importance of doing that. And I think they have a really good team. And they obviously have a really good head coach and a lot of good players. And they got a chance to be a good team this year. What
is it like to be in a meeting with Jerry Jones after a loss, Jason? What is that like?
Oh, Jerry Jones he's a fascinating guy.
Yes, he is.
You don't have the success that he's had throughout his life and really everything he's touched. He has amazing abilities. He has amazing wisdom and intelligence about so many different topics. And I would say he was incredible after losses. He was incredible, when times were tough. His support for coaches and for players, and when the football part of it was tough or things in your individual life were challenging, their deaths and those kinds of things. I mean, he was incredible, and I saw the examples through the years when I was playing there, when I was coaching there, when things like that happened for me. I felt it personally. So, there's a perception about Jerry Jones, and I think some of it from the outside might be accurate, but there are a lot of stuff he's portrayed.
Hey, that's how Jerry listening to this conversation. That's just going to keep that one right there.
We're going to have a good visit, but settle down just a little bit.
All right, let's listen to more of this, man. We're going to keep that one right there. I can just tell Jerry, and name this game. If you guys, I'm going to put in the comment, I want you guys to comment down below. Name this game that he was like that. And you could tell that he really wanted to win this game. Name this game. Can somebody in the comment box, can y'all name this game? Because I don't think that you guys know this particular game that he was just looking like, man, come on, they hosing me. Oh, my gosh.
In a certain way that I simply don't agree with. And very fortunate to have the opportunity to have played for him and to coach for him for many years. And he's really made my life better. So I got nothing but great things to say about Jerry Jones.
No, and I'm not.
It's against a Bay team, but not Green Bay. I just narrowed it down. The Bears game. No, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the answer. This was the Tampa Bay game last year, I believe. Let me see if I was correct. Let me slide it up right quick. Y'all, you guys bear with me right quick. Yep, that was the score. 4 minutes. The fourth quarter, 1 minute and 29 seconds left on the ticker. The score was 26-28, and it was fourth and 6. You see how that went? Jerry was like, come on, man. Come on.
I'm not fishing for you to say something negative about him, Jason, just so I can stipulate that. It's just it is a fast. You said he's incredible, and he is fascinating. It just there's the general sense in Dallas that after all this time that he'll put his finger in the pot in a way that he should not. That might run detrimental to the ultimate success of this team. And that's what I'm trying to dive into here. Having had all that time with him, Yeah,
he was always so supportive. He always wanted to do what was necessary to win, and I always felt like I didn't do a good enough job communicating, what we needed to do if there was a decision made that was against some of the things that I wanted to do, whether it was hiring someone or drafting someone or signing someone or making a decision about personnel or how we're doing things. And to me, it's the coach's job in any organization to create the vision for what you want the team and the program to be. And it's your job to lead, and it's your job to lead upward to ownership, to general managers, and certainly lead to your coaches and to your players and to all the staff members who work with the team. So anytime something didn't go in a direction that I felt like maybe we should have done it this way, I always put it back on myself to say, clearly I didn't communicate that well enough. I didn't make the argument the argument well enough to get the decision or the outcome that we wanted. It's a very collaborative organization. There's a lot of people. You have a lot of conversations about the decisions you want to make. Ultimately, Jerry is the owner, general manager. He makes the decisions. He's the one who drafts the player.
Get him.
But I always felt like when I did a good job communicating the vision, communicating the reason why we wanted this particular guy, and we created consensus throughout the organization, that's when we did our best work.
As they say, closed mouths don't get fed, right? And when he felt like he didn't communicate enough, sometimes you got to look. I get it. Self-preservation. You want to say to yourself, I really love what I'm doing, and I do not want to kick the hornet's nest, or I do not want to sully things with the owner, general manager, and everything else above. So you tend to decrease yourself, right? And one of the hardest things to do in life is to give that permission to someone that's beneath you to change your point of view. Like, I'm going through this now with my little ones. I make sure that they speak freely about the things that they want. And I want them to challenge me in a way to say, yes, I want this because of this reason, right? But sometimes, as the only male in the house, my voice is so boisterous. When I say no, the word no destroys them. But I want them to challenge themselves. So what I'm trying to say is, Cowboy Nation, Jason Garrett probably knew that Taco Charlton wasn't the answer, right? He probably knew that, like, hey, TJ Watt would do a better job. So at some point, the coach must grow a set to say, no, this is who we want, or this is who I believe can get us over the hump. They can win us games in the pivotal moment. But if you fool around and keep your mouth shut or hush it because you so secured about your job, you want to keep your job, then the same thing that you may say that you're protecting yourself up against can harm you, right? And the ladies, y'all know that. Just because the gentleman asks you out for a date and then you go out doesn't mean that warranted something else, or doesn't mean that warranted the second date. You can literally say, hey, we had a good time, or we had an awesome time, but you're not the one for me, right? But don't be coy with it. You got to be able to stand firm on the ground that you walk on. And as a person with the ideology of thinking that, yeah, alpha male, right? And then on top of that, forwardly thinking about my future, you got to be able to speak out for the things you want, basically. The chat is jumping. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all on this beautiful day. We got a couple of more weeks. I will be out there in Oxnard, and I can't wait to wrap it up with you guys that's here. So the good thing that I hope that Mike McCarthy, and I guarantee you, Jason Garrett is not talking directly to Mike McCarthy. But the one thing that I really want Mike McCarthy to take away from this is be the person to speak actions and do the things that you know for sure they can help win this ball game, right? And this is the Mike McCarthy we thought we was going to get right here. This guy right here, look at that official. Boy, he moonwalking back better than Michael Jackson. That Mike McCarthy do not exist in the Dallas Cowboys uniform. That Mike McCarthy right there, the boisterous one, the one that calls the plays or what have you, he do not exist. Mike McCarthy is not this guy that would munch and bark and bite at the aficionados. Or there's another clip that I wanted to go grab right quick of Mike McCarthy. Them holding Mike McCarthy back from Aaron Rodgers. We don't have that Mike McCarthy here, Cowboy Nation. We don't. We have, technically, we have this Mike McCarthy. The one that's aloof, the one that's standoffish, the one that's shaking his head, sitting in one spot. That's the most interaction that you will get out of this particular Mike McCarthy. Still on the sideline, arm folded. We know he got his arm folded because he's seeing. He clapping his hand. It's like the claps. It's like, this is what it is. It's contagious. It's contagious. Jason Garrett then passed the claps over to Mike McCarthy. It's just how contagious it is. But this Mike McCarthy do not exist.
And anytime we fell short of that, I put it back on myself for not doing my job well enough.
Jason Garrett here on the Rich Eisen Show, calling in from Canton, Ohio, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, where the New Orleans Breakers and the Birmingham Stallions will battle in the South Division Final in the inaugural USFL playoffs that you can see on Saturday, 8 Eastern Time on NBC and Peacock. I wish you good luck on that, Jason, and let's chat down the line. I always love running into you whenever I do, and certainly this is one of them. I really appreciate it, Jason.
Rich, always enjoy it, man. Keep up the great work.
Right.
Yeah, that was, be sure to check out the Rich Eisen Show. You can find that full interview there I really appreciate each and every last one of you all for jumping in for this episode. And that was J.C. Garrett. My thoughts of this is the only way we can really see this thing grow as a complete team if everybody get on the same page. And the coaching staff, listen, Jason Garrett been here for I know his resume says from 2010 all the way to 2019 as the head coach, but he was here 2 years prior to that, right? So that's going 11 years, basically. One can argue that the guy been here for 12, but that's a story of a different day. One thing I can tell you guys, really, 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 really tell you guys, is that this particular team, in order for them to go far, Mike McCarthy, you got to tell this staff what you really want. You do. You got to tell the staff, man. No, well, not the staff. The owner, what you really want. What you really want. You can't just be docile with it and say, yeah, we'll roll with this guy. Oh, we don't need these guys. It's about winning games. And all offseason, I looked at even the L.A. Rams. Allen Robinson is no one that sneezes at, right? They said that they still looking for wide receivers, right? Odell Beckham going to come back, probably put on that uniform again, if not already. Cooper Kupp had an amazing year last season. They're not trying to take away. They're trying to add to it. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys, by them leaving or trading Amari Cooper for a fifth-round draft pick, it's the end of the world, but they trying. The other teams are trying to add to. Now, I've seen some Eagle fans in here. Appreciate the Eagles fan. We really appreciate you talking and I guess elevating your team. You guys do that every year, and I appreciate it. And shout out to you guys for winning the Super Bowl in 2017. One thing you realize, it's not that easy, huh? It's hard to be back-to-back champs. And you guys don't have that opportunity now. The only coach to win you that Super Bowl, he's not in that Eagles green. The quarterback, two wide receivers, he's not on that team. So you guys got a brand-new team, Jalen Hurts, and you got some weapons for him. And if you want to talk about rosters and everything, we heard the same storyline, but with a different team. The Washington Commanders last season was all in here. I don't even see a Washington fan in here now, right? I'm just speaking 100 to you guys. But they were saying like last year, these was literally the quotes, and I don't forget them. Oh, man, Scary Terry, he's the best wide receiver in this division. All we need, that's what them saying, because they was high on their tight end, the two tight ends that they have. They was high on their running back situation and setup, and they were saying that their defense is generational. And they said all they need was a good quarterback. And they had a nerve of a third of their fan base to really think that Ryan Fitzpatrick was better than Dak Prescott. And they said he would be the guy that can flip their team over. That's all they need. All they need. Oh, my goodness, man. It is what it is. Let's see here. We got Coach Marvin House. What's good? First caller of the day.
Oh man, I'm good, man. I feel like I'm blessed, man. I'm the first caller in the man. I had to be the first caller, man. I said, man, my man Law, he took a day off, man. But hey, you took a day off for the right reason.
Oh yeah.
Never forget about family.
Oh
my
yeah.
dad, my late father, always told me, he said, son, when it all balls down, when it all said and done, the only thing you have is family. They're gonna be the first people to see you, and probably gonna be the first people to put dirt on you.
Yeah.
So always take time for family.
And that's one of the things I pray. I said, shoot, I want them to bury me. I don't want to bury them. So yeah, you're right on that.
Yeah, that's right. But Law, I like the Jason Garrett stint. I hate it, but Law, I know you really don't really, I know you like to promote everybody, and I'm promoting somebody else's show, but I think all Cowboy fans, and I think you need to take a look at West Coast live stream with this guy that brought an article about the misconception of this passing league of the NFL.
Oh, okay.
And when you look at that law, I know when you look at this, you're gonna be like, when how it equates with the Cowboys or how it equates for the whole league.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be like, this is just a farce that the NFL is throwing out there to just to get excitement. But the real people win when you don't throw the ball as much.
Oh yeah.
And this, and when you, this the highlight is, I put in your chat, Dak Prescott is 11-17. I mean, 6-13 when he got 40 attempts in the game.
Yeah, that's
The
terrible.
great Tony Romo, for the people that says Tony Romo throws the ball better, is 11-17 when he has 40 attempts in a game.
Yeah.
The overall league average in the history of the NFL, I'm talking about the all-time greats, is 31%.
Oh, wow.
When they throw the ball 40 times in a game.
You
when
know,
they throw the ball less than 30, 124%.
Wow.
So, it goes back to my overall saying was, and it points it out, and just really think about it. The NFL increased popularity with the increase of fantasy football and increased popularity with the gaming industry, because the gaming industry got novice fans involved that they have never played, but they got a chance to get the real life visualization of the game, and the NFL promoted to make the games like Madden, like football. Try to make it as realistic to football as they could make it. But there has been a change where the popularity of those two avenues grew so much and got a lot of novice fans into the game that increased the popularity of the sport. That they said, now let's change the real game like the Madden game. So let's change the rules so the real game will be more of a reflection without the physicality, the excitement, the high scoring, like the game on the video. So now that's what people want. But the real substance of football is still physical. And those are the teams that win. So Jason Garrett, when you get back to what you were saying about Jason Garrett,
right?
I think the only thing that Jason Garrett in the stat shows in his 16 to 18 season he was there, Cowboys was one of the lower passing teams in the league, and they were 20. They had a winner. They had 11-11 winning record against winning teams in those 2 years. Well, Kellen Moore, they don't have a winning record. They have well below 7-15 winning record since Kellen Moore been offense coordinator. I don't know. We talk about the number one passing team. We talk about the number one offense, but 7-15 since Kellen Moore taken over as offense coordinator, and we throwing the ball 39 times a game in the time he's been here. So these things don't equate, and I think Jason Garrett had the philosophy, but one thing Jason never had at Dallas.
What's that?
Jason's problem was he put too much emphasis, and his kryptonite was he didn't change defensive coordinators to get a better defensive style.
Coach, this is my philosophy, and if they were to do that all over again, of course, I wanted Parcells to stay. But what Jerry Jones should have done, because in his heart, he didn't like Jason Garrett. He loved Jason Garrett. He should have went on ahead and said, you know what? You will be my head coach. because he already was paying him the same amount of money you were paying Wade Phillips. And say, Phillips, we love your defense. You will be my defensive coordinator. And all of this stuff of finding that defensive coordinator to be the right soup or the right recipe, it would have been already working for us. Because one thing I can tell you, my money on the line as far as a person that can implement a defense is Wade. Coach Wade was a good defensive coordinator. I mean, God dog, look at his resume, So that was the Cowboys' biggest mistake. And you are right about running the football. Think about this. Last year, of course, the Rams went and got their running back because their main starter running back got hurt, so they went and picked up Shawn Michel. He was no one to sneeze at as it relates to running the ball. Of course, they threw the ball. But when they needed to run, they ran. The year before that, the Buccaneers, people failed to realize that was a running team that helped set up the pass for that particular Tom Brady. And the year, believe it or not, that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, if they hear, it wasn't fly, Eagles, fly. It was run, Eagles, run. They was third in rushing or second or third in rushing in the National Football League. So you got to go back to the philosophy of rushing the ball, and that's really brought from my guy Parcells. He said that there are more negatives that can happen to a play when you drop back to pass, but there's few negative things that can happen when you run the ball. If you think I'm lying, boy, I know the Seattle Seahawks wish that they put the ball in the belly of Marshawn Lynch.
Well, you make a very interesting point.
Yeah.
When you talk about defenses,
mm-hmm.
If you ask any defensive coordinator from the start of football to now, and you ask them, the first thing they say, if you say, what's the most important thing if you want to have a quality defense? The first thing they say, it's not that we need to get past rush. The first thing we got to stop is the running game, because we can't stop the running game.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else is going to be stopped, because running the ball it goes back to the nature of football, of a physical sport. And when you cannot control, if you can't, listen, let's take the Cowboys defense, which was the worst in the history of defenses a couple years ago. People always say, well, when you put people in the box, you can stop the run. You don't think the Cowboys, they were getting the ball run on there, you don't think they had about 8, 9 people in the box? That don't make no difference if they had people in the box or not. They wasn't physically capable of stopping the run, and when you physically not capable to stop the run, you may dial up a blitz and somebody comes free and you hit the quarterback, you tip the ball, the pass is errant, the pass is not, a quarterback is not really accurate with his passing, and you make a slower team down. Mm-hmm. But if you cannot stop the run, there's no slowing the team down. And I'm not saying football is a 3 yards and a cloud of dust thing.
Yeah.
But typically, the stats, I think Mike McCarthy came here and he was preaching about analytics.
Right.
Didn't he say he's the analytic coach? He said he was in the bunker. He thought analytics, and he got really with analytics.
Mm-hmm.
If he is an analytics guy, and analytics is what we talking about in the NFL, and everybody talking about analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Analytics show that if you are a balanced, physical, and can run the ball and be explosive in the passing game, but can be consistent in running the football and can win the time of possession, analytics show that you are going to be playing late in January and in February. Mm-hmm. And if you have a defense like we have now, Law, if we imply that philosophy now with the defense that we have now, Law, Cowboy fans, we will win listen, I would guarantee we'll be playing unless it's some really crazy injuries or some crazy stuff. But we will be playing with the final weeks of the NFL season. We'll be playing, and every team will fear us, because if you got a good defense and you apply that philosophy, you are going to be very hard to beat. And listen, if we've applied that philosophy, if Dak got hurt, you could take a listen, and Dak is to me a top 5 quarterback. This is no gets that.
Right.
But there has been quarterbacks that is the Trent Dilferds, the Brad Johnsons, the
Nick Foles, Eli Manning,
the Nick Foles, the guy from the Redskins, the Mark Ripkins, the people that just had marginal good years, good receivers, but were able to control games with a great defense, a running game, and they were able to win Super Bowls. Even the Eli Manning. There was a stat. Did you watch the game? They had the replay of the Giants on the NFL Network, and I think it was Tony Romo game against the Giants, and they said when Eli Manning them couldn't run the ball through his career, he was horrible. But when they could run the football, he was a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yeah.
So this is what I say, that we get so wrapped up in the analytics, and I think again, we have a very good team. And I love y'all shows, man. I love your show, Law, because you make sure you don't leave no rock unturned.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the thing that we need to push to this. And it's so easy because the media wants us to get so wrapped up and enamored with this. We need more receivers. We need to get more receivers. Law, if we can get physical up front and run the ball, we got more than enough receivers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a whole host of receivers if you want to have the philosophy that wins games. We got enough. And football has not changed. Football is the same. The Cowboys went with one great receiver and a bunch of other guys, and people try to think it changed, but I just gave you stats of the history of the NFL.
No doubt,
one great
Coach.
receiver and a lot of other stuff, and they were just as explosive as Miami at that time and the Buffalo Bills.
No doubt, Coach. I appreciate you for calling in, Coach. Yes, indeed, man.
Thank you, Law, for your work, man. And no more days off, brother.
No days off. Appreciate you, Coach. well, my other one, my other little one birthday is not until September the 24th. So she.
Okay, you got a little time, man.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Way. Appreciate you, man.
Have a good one.
Good call from Coach Marv. And to that point and to that degree, I don't think that even the young Pat Mahomes would have lifted up that Lombardi trophy if it wasn't for his running back. So you got to have that running back or run the ball, and you can get things favorable for you. But you got to run the ball. And Coach was speaking on so high of a good information about running the ball, because there's two things that travel. Two things. Write this down. Defense and the running game. Those two things travel. And it's not that look, Jason had the right formula, right? Run the ball, time of possession. In 2016, the Cowboys had fifth in total offense, fifth in defense. But the one thing they couldn't do is stop the run, right? And we saw that, of course, the Green Bay Packers jumped up on us 31 points. But we still had problems stopping that run, what Aaron Rodgers was doing. But neither here nor there. I got another caller that's been waiting. Really appreciate her always bringing in some beautiful insights. Tremetta, you're live.
Hey, Law Nation. How are you guys doing?
Great. We're doing wonderful over here.
How's the family on Sunday?
Well. Wonderful. Just got to finish eating good breakfast and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Coach Marv can talk, but I love him.
Yeah, wisdom up in there.
I was sitting here like, okay, Coach, all right. But, I just want to bring some laughter and some happiness up in here today. I know you were mentioning earlier about you didn't see any Washington fans. And the only thing I could think about is, I believe it was J-Ron Curse. Mm-hmm. When he was doing we want Dallas, we want Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was talking to him. Yeah. He was like, yeah. I know which video you talking about too. Yeah, they was talking some.
I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I said we need to re-sign him just for that. Just for talking trash to the fans. But also, I wanted to take it back also to the interview that you played at the beginning with Jason Garrett. I guess I forgot what he sounded like because I was like, oh, that's Jason. But I like that he wasn't disrespectful to the team because, you know, I know that people were trying to say that he wasn't trying to answer the questions, but he's not going to shoot himself in the foot either.
Right.
You know, Jerry Jones is a very popular owner in the league, and so you're not going to sit there and say anything negative. And he had some constructive criticism for himself. I like the interview a lot, but it only spoke to what everybody already knew. You know, no, you didn't speak up to the team when they needed you to. No, you weren't more vocal. I believe the guys believed in him because he wasn't a hard coach, but then I like that Dan Quinn is. Like, Dan Quinn is going to take no mess from those guys.
Right.
And he elevates them each and every time. And Mike McCarthy, you know, you showed that clip. Like, you know, we don't have that coach. I don't know what happened. I don't know if getting fired deflated him. You know, I don't know if sitting alone for a year got him thinking about things, or if it's just a Jerry Jones effect. You know, he knows how to mute his coaches. But we really do need to get back to running the ball. I believe that as well. And we just need balance. I'm not saying that Dak can't get it done, but, you know, you have other people on the team for a reason. And so the running backs, man, I would love to see Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott on the field together. And I remember that I don't remember what year that was, where we went to the Rams in the playoffs and we lost.
2018.
But they had two running backs. And they had, for most of that season, both of their running backs were on the field and they were doing dynamic. I think that, you know, we could take their philosophy with Dallas, and I think that they really are going to start to implement Tony Pollard more with Ezekiel Elliott, and I think that's a great idea. I can't wait to see what these new receivers can do for us, the veteran James and also Tolbert, the rookie. So, you know, there's a lot to look forward to this year, and I'm excited about that.
Most certainly. If the Cowboys, I like what you said, get back to being balanced. And we're not just saying just run it, but get back to balance. If the Cowboys get back to balanced football and still, you know, control the outcome of the game by running it on a certain looks, then this team can go far. But I truly believe that Coach Mike McCarthy got to be that guy to step up and say, you know what, this is quarters defense. I've been in the NFL for a long time. You got to run it on that, Kellen Moore. You can't be stubborn to continue to call passes on those type of plays. So you got to start running the ball a little bit more to be more efficient.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we've seen Mike McCarthy coach.
Right, right. That's the other thing too. That is the other thing. We don't really know because he's a walk around coach at this point, right? He empowers Kellen Moore as well as Dan Quinn to do their thing. So,
right. I think he's being told to do that.
Big facts. Big facts.
But if we were to actually see Mike McCarthy, I mean, he has a whole lot more to offer. And some of the calls, just some of the things waiting to the last minute to make decisions of situational football is just, you know, what kind of blew my mind these past couple of years. And he was here, like, you should never wait. You should always know what to do. What happened to the football coach that knew what to do at the exact moment? That's what he was for Green Bay, and that's what I want him to be for us. So, I mean, we should never get down to, I think it was like a decision he was making. He was sitting there scratching his head about on like a 4th and 1 or something, one of those games. I was like, wow, you was taking forever. The time is dwindling away.
Mm-hmm.
And
clock management.
He got criticized a lot.
Yeah,
clock management. He got criticized a lot about that, but never had that problem over there in Green Bay.
Well, he did have some questionable things with that in Green Bay. But my thing is, we just got to see him now. He's going into his third year as the coach, and I think the world of this team. I hope that Mike McCarthy can just get over the hump there, and if we can have back-to-back, I think we are. Back-to-back playoffs. You're getting back to the playoff. You've been there before. These guys shouldn't have a nervous bone in their body, and just play lights out. That's what I'm leaning on, Jametta, and that's what I'm gonna leave out there. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
You know what? If they stayed out of the social media,
right,
they wouldn't have been nervous.
Oh yeah.
Always leading up to that game, they kept telling. You could hear that. Michael Irvin, everybody saying, "Oh no, it's the 49ers. It's what we didn't want. It's gonna be this," and the players hear that. Yep. They're on social media. They watch Fox and ESPN. They hear the talk, and then you got Michael Irvin, who's not that far away, who probably saying it to their face. Like, what I'm saying? So it's like, who wouldn't be nervous? Okay, this is a big game. Who wouldn't be nervous? The expectations are really high, and everybody were already counting them out. Another person on that team, and I'm going to leave at this, that I want to see more confidence from is Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And I know people may not expect to hear that, but I just want him to make the decision with the ball in his hands. If you don't see a receiver open, take them yards, get them yards. I know he just came off of an injury, but this year, there's no excuse. You're 100%, be 100%. Don't leave the fate of throwing the ball away or trying to throw it to somebody who's not open. Take it and go with it. Make that decision. It's right there in his face, and I just want him to be more confident about that.
We were all rooting for Dak Prescott to be such. I really appreciate you for calling in, Jametta.
All right, you guys take care. Have a great, blessed Sunday.
You as well. That's a good call from her. Give her one of these right here. Yeah. Jametta. Big point right there. Big point. Let me give you guys my thoughts on what she said about that. Dak Prescott being more in command, more in charge of things. He got to. I recall some of the greats that played for the Cowboys, right? As it relates to their quarterback role, they get into the face of their offensive lineman, right? You sit right here, wide receiver drop the ball, you get in the face. Troy had his ways of doing it, but he didn't necessarily do it that much with the playmaker. But, man, he would chew out Alvin, right? Or he would chew out the other wide receivers or what have you. But Dak himself, and I'm not saying that he is Troy, by the way, but Dak himself got to take a little bit more of a command on this team, and I'm quite sure he understands that too, right? And I get it. We're going to go back and forth saying he's not this, he's not that, but the team got to get back too. And then as far as the hearing the noise in the news, that's what Coach Jason Garrett said. Sometimes you got to lock in and just tune out the outside noise. And the players say that they don't, but they quote things exactly what the outside noise saying. So we know that they listening, right? And one thing for sure, my brother, who is a diehard 49ers fan, he had called me midweek, the week of the Cowboys versus the 49ers, and he said, y'all scared. I said, what you talking about, man? Our players ain't scared. He said, we got y'all. We got y'all up here. I said, why? He said, I tuned in to Cowboys information, and y'all practicing with pads on. Y'all are not doing the things that you're accustomed to do in the regular week. We already got y'all mentally. Because you think that you got to play a team that's more physical. Now you putting on your pads. You guys go back and listen. The week before we played the 49ers, the Cowboys said to themselves, we got to match their physicality, so we're going to put on pads. No. Because one thing, when you get out of your element, when you get out of the lane that you're supposed to be in, you tend to reach. You tend to say, this is what my definition of physicality is. and you play undisciplined football. You hit people after the play or what have you. That's where your 14 penalties come from. But baby, when it's your house and you comfortable in your own skin, you do everything the exact same way. You don't supposed to get uncomfortable in your own house for your guests. No, this is your house. So you continue to go about your practicing the way you used to practice. But the Niners already had them in the head game. 260. What do you know? You're live.
What's going on, Law?
Hey, man, all is well. I can't complain, man.
So, I want to address the point that you talked about with the coaching. So, and this is something I've thrown out before. Like, if they wanted a coach that was, like, more boisterous, they should have tried to go after Jim Harbaugh. Like, when he was rumored to be coming to the Vikings, like, they should have tried to pursue him and make him the head coach. Because he's the guy that doesn't hesitate to, like, really, like, put his imprint on the game. Like, he'll do what's right for the team.
Yeah. I think the only reason why they shied away from that is because the nature and how he left the 49ers. I think it was like the players, they played hard for Jim, or John, whatever his name is, one of the Harbaughs. They played hard for him, but they said that the upper management, he kept on getting into it with them. And I think that Jerry Jones, he looked at it like he needs somebody that can flow with what he say, you know. And I'm not trying to shoot anything at Jerry, but that's just how it is. And then I think a lot of people say he didn't do that good in Michigan, you know. But I would like somebody with that temperament here. You mix him in. Is he a defensive coach or offensive coach? Y'all help me out. You mix him in with Dan Quinn. That would have been life, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh is more of an offensive coach, in my opinion.
Oh, he's an offensive guy. So, yeah, man, shoot, bring him in. You know?
He seems more like an offensive coach.
Yeah.
Because he does really good with quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. And John is more of a special teams guy, right?
Yeah, special teams / defense.
Okay. You own it, man. You own it. So, yeah, that would have been a better look for as far as a boisterous coach. And then we know that he would have a leg up because he handled and dealt with most of those young recruits because he's just coming from the college arena. So, yeah, man, that would have been better for us. But I think that our guy, Mike McCarthy, he said anything to get the job. Yeah, I'm an analytical guy. Yeah, I watched every play that Kellen Moore did, you know, so I think that Mike McCarthy was just trying to get that bag.
Well, he literally admitted, I think, actually, what was like a few months ago, that literally he just basically lied to Jerry Jones just because he wanted to be a coach.
Yeah. You know, so that's what a lot of people do on their resumes, but we just don't ever admit it, you know, after we get it, you know. You know.
Yeah. Well, here's another interesting thought I had, and I brought this up before, too. Like, what do you think of the idea of, like, Kellen Moore / Mike McCarthy having more, like, okay, so I'll put it like this. Like, do you know what the Falcon formation is?
No, talk to me, man. Break it down.
So the Falcon formation is basically when you have – it used to be when you have two fullbacks on the field at the same time, but, like, teams have kind of inverted that because we don't use fullbacks anymore. They've inverted that to where a Falcon formation now is when you have both running backs in the game at the same time. It's supposed to be more of a balanced personnel package.
Like a 22 personnel. Yeah.
So basically, it's basically an inverted version of like the 22 formation. So I think really they need to explore trying to do that a little bit more, just because I think Zeke and Pollard's games are enough different to where you can have them on the field at the same time to where Zeke, because the thing people I think don't understand enough about Zeke, his rushing numbers have gone down, but he may be the best blocking running back in the entire league. Like, the dude is a legit, like, elite blocker. Like, he could block in certain formations for Tony Pollard and kind of, like, help our O-line, too, just because, like, the O-line is getting up there in age, and I think Zeke could be used almost as, like, another, like, O-lineman in a sense. Like, what do you think, Law?
Zeke blocking ability is tops. You know, I seen him crack some people, give him a little rub or what have you, and they had to sit out for a couple of plays. I think that the creativity out of the run formation is just not Kellen Moore's cup of tea. I just look at it like this. He's going to eventually still do things that which he's comfortable doing. So my only hope would be is that going into his fourth year, like right now, Kellen Moore is somewhere watching film, watching over some things of how he can compete and counter some of the opposing team's defenses to attack. And if he can get to some of those unique looks of 22 personnel, or even getting into a situation where he utilized Ezekiel Elliott more with Tony Pollard, or just utilize Tony Pollard and sprinkle in Zeke. However it goes, I just need my 25 to 30 attempts, and I think that this team will be better just off of just the mindset. But I don't know what else to say from here, man.
Well, yeah, I think the other thing, and that brings us to another point, like, back, and I'm talking about, like, way back in the day, like, over a decade ago, like, the Kansas City Chiefs used to do that a lot because they had Priest Holmes and Larry Johnson on the field, not at the same time, but they basically split carries. Those two guys were different running backs. Like, Larry Johnson was more of like a speed back, like Priest Holmes was a power back, and so they could bring those guys in together, but they also had them sometimes on the field at the same time as, like, one's a receiver and one's like a runner or blocker. Like, I think when you have the personnel to be able to run, like, different formations and, like, mix the game up, like, you always should be able, not only should be able, but you should always aim to do that, because you want a defense. Like, the game is mental too. It's half mental. You want a defense to mentally think, okay, like, you don't want them to completely know, like, what's coming at them. Like, you want to confuse it if you can. You want to get their minds running to where it's like, okay, like, we could be running, like, different formations that we have to guard. And so that to me is why I think Kellen Moore has to at least consider, like you said, a 22 or a passing formation, whatever we're calling it. Like, he has to consider doing that more, because he has two good quality running backs on his roster, Law.
Yeah, and he got the two quality. And when we say 22, for those who are out there or listening, the first two represent the two running backs, the second two represent the tight end. So pretty much instead of 12, you're looking at 22. Or you have the ability, with the flexibility of Tony Pollard, to also line up 20 personnel. And if it doesn't look favorable to what you want, you can motion Pollard into the slot, and it goes right to ace. Those are very hybrid looks that you can really utilize with this particular system. So I really think that the Cowboys should figure out ways to do such. But in order for all of this to work out, Schultz got to be on board, and as well as Jake Ferguson, especially with those twin tight end sets to solidify that power football formations.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. When you said the 22 formation, the other part of it, where you said the two tight ends, the 49ers ran that an awful lot too. Because remember, they had Davis and Delaney Walker. They ran 22 formation, but not with two running backs. They did it with two tight ends, where Vernon would be the what do you call it? Not the split guy, the roll guy thing, whatever it's called, like the dude who goes down the field basically. Where you have the roll tight end and you have the blocking tight end. And Delaney Walker was the blocking tight end, and Vernon Davis was the roll tight end. Like, I think so that you can actually have, and I think the Cowboys, the weird part about it, they could have done 22 in either way had they had kept what's the guy's name, Blake Jarwin, because Blake Jarwin is the roll tight end. Like, he's the super dynamic tight end, and Dalton Schultz is the more the old school blocker, a little bit more size on him. Like, they could have actually done both versions of the 22 formation, but obviously, like, Blake Jarwin, they let him go. So, what's your thoughts on that, though, Law?
I think Jarwin was the high tight end that can vertically run those seam routes. He can take advantages of the mismatch, because the whole ideology of having twin sets or 22 or 12 is to create that mismatch. You want pretty much smaller body on tight end. And smaller body on tight end is your nickel corner or your free safety that's coming down the field or what have you. Now all of a sudden they have different responsibilities. So what they don't want is, in a run pursuit, is to have those light bodies on them where they can push and knock out of the way. for example, like I believe Dalton Schultz is like 6'5". I think your nickel cornerback is like 5'11", 202 pounds, right? So in a matchup aspect of it, if I'm running the ball all day, then they're going to tend to substitute, put a linebacker on it to take on some of those blockings. But when you have a tight end that have the ability to stretch the field, that can get up on you vertically, stop, go, and get up, then they tend to substitute out of that package. So that's why your groupings, your personnel groupings, dictate what the defensive lineup look like. But we don't do a lot of that in this particular team. We don't present power to finesse them, or we don't present the finesse look to give them power. So we don't do a lot of counters. We don't do those things as far as manipulation. But hopefully, heading into this fourth year with Kellen Moore, he looks at it and say, okay, cool. You want to have 6 DBs out there? That's hog heavy for my guys. Now I'm gonna pull Tyler Smith on the edge, and I'm going to have my other tight end to rotate to the opposite side, and we're going to power this football until you get those DBs out of there. And what a lot of people, and the DBs will contest to this, they're going to say, hey, coach, look, man, you got to give me up out. You know, they coming right at me. There's not a lot of plays that someone is going to be willing to go head on with a guard that's pulling, or with a tackle that's pulling downfield. Not a lot of DBs would like to have that contact, and the Cowboys shy away from that.
Right. So yeah, one more thing before I head out, like, and this is something I just thought about. Mm-hmm. Like the team that I think, as far as like what I've watched like for the last like 2 decades or whatever, the team that I've seen that's the best ever at doing that I've seen is the New England Patriots. Like they do, like, especially when they had Gronk and Hernandez. Like Gronk. Yeah. The unique thing about the Patriots, though, is like both of those guys could be used as role tight ends because they both have vertical ability down the field. And sometimes when you have that, like that's the most unique type of 22 set you can have at tight ends. Like when both of them can stretch the field and also block in Gronk's case, like it makes it a nightmare because you really don't know. Honestly, like what they'll do. Like you can try and telegraph it, but you won't always know what they're gonna do. And I think that's what, to me, that's what the Cowboys, like, if they have, now obviously they have Dalton Schultz, but I still feel like they need to go get that role guy. Like they need to go out and get another role guy to complement Schultz and have a guy that can stretch the field and make defenses pay.
Look, before you go, I want you to take one good look, man, offline or what have you, and people that's watching right now, pay close attention to the Baltimore Ravens. They went and got Charlie Kolar. They already have Mark Andrews, and they went and got Isaiah Likely. And they're going to present power play football. They're going to run it down your throat, and you're going to be begging for mercy. I want everybody to pay close attention to the Baltimore Ravens. Their defense is going to be top, and I'm quite sure they're going to be in the wheelhouses of being the number 1 rushing team in the National Football League for the 2022 season. If everyone stay healthy, the Ravens will be a team that people fear because they went and got some trench guys. And they got rid of one of their better wide receivers because they want to create the mismatches. So they doing all of the same recipe that the older New England Patriots were doing. They're going to play sound football as relates on defense, and they're going to make it a nasty, nasty time for you on offense to stop their attack. But I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Good call.
Good call for you, man. Good call from him. But you guys, pay close attention to those Ravens team. If everybody stay healthy, man, they getting back to some grimy type of football, and the defense will be stout. I'm already speaking it. The defense will be stout. Those birds, right? The Ravens birds over there, and they're going to get back to some nasty football, exploiting the mismatches because on one end, if they said, okay, y'all going to try to present that light body work with these DBs, that's cool. All right, but we gonna show you what we gonna do on the ground time. And Tyler Linderbaum. Oh yeah, Tyler Linderbaum. It's heaven for him because you're talking about somebody that when he pull, he's so athletic he can get to that second level, and as small and he's athletic, but as small as he is, those DBs don't want to face him all the time, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to run the lights out of the football, and they're going to set you up for the play action. And a lot of people slept on Kolar, and a lot of people said, Isaiah Likely, he ain't nobody. But then you mix in with Mark Andrews, and it's finna get nasty over there. 601, you live.
Hey, man, I know you know this area code, Law.
Yeah.
I know you see the area code.
Yeah.
Hey. It's your boy Preacher from Meridian, man.
Meridian.
Let me say something, man. 99% of the time, I'm just content to sit back and let you bring the juice, let you inform us. But every now and then, Law, I gotta call in. I gotta try to help Cowboys Nation out here, Law. They getting gaslit. So I just want to just take a second to help my fellow Cowboy brethren out here because we got a lot of crazy stuff being thrown out there right now. Mm-hmm. It's the real off season. You know, the mandatory minicamp is over with. You're not going to really get any more real meat until training camp.
Right.
And so you got all these four-letter networks just throwing things out there against the wall, trying to get clicks and trying to get a little attention. So what I want to do is just help Cowboys Nation not to fall for the hype. Yeah. Cowboys Nation, the Dallas Cowboys have a business model. Now, a lot of you might be saying, what is a business model? A business model is when a person is successful and they want their business to remain successful after they are dead and gone. And so they hand down a way of doing things to keep the business successful to their children, i.e. Jerry Jones handing things down to Cowboy Jones. Mm-hmm. And so they got some things in place. Now, one thing that they got in place is they love cheap labor. Everybody loves cheap labor, and the Cowboys especially love cheap labor. So whenever you see these clickbait subject topics about maybe Cowboys should trade for this player, maybe Cowboys should trade for that player, stop falling for the hype. The easiest way to get cheap talent on a team is through the draft. The Cowboys play the comp pick game, meaning that they always going to lose more in free agency than they sign because they know those draft picks are slotted. They are relatively cheap, and they're going to try to get their hands on as many draft picks as possible. If the Cowboys are involved in a trade, it's going to be the Cowboys giving up a player to get a draft pick. It's going to be very, very, very seldom, frequent and far in between, infrequent and far in between that they're going to be involved in a trade to actually lose picks, i.e. the Amari Cooper trade and so forth and so on. So they just ain't in the business of trading draft picks for players because those draft picks are so important to get cheap. That's why they always seem to have a rookie free agent or two to make the team because them boys so happy that they made a team, they more than willing to sign that rookie minimum contract. Yep. So their business model is cheap labor. Mm-hmm. Another part of their business model is people think the Cowboys are cheap, period. They are not cheap. Another part of their business model is branding. Branding is the most important thing to the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, they want to win, but more than winning, they want to protect the brand. That's how you could be cheap and not spend a whole lot of money in free agency, but you'll spend billions of dollars building AT&T Stadium. You'll go all out to have a state-of-the-art equipment and technology and marketing and all that type of stuff. It's because they protect the brand. And the reason why I want to talk about the brand is because that leads to the coach. You know, I looked at your topic board today. You was talking about what may happen if Mike McCarthy falls flat this year, and who might be the kind of coach. And we have a lot of fans that are really smart fans, and they say, well, this guy will be a good coach, or that guy will be a good coach. Cowboys Nation, keep this in mind. If we have to pick another coach, if Jerry Jones, if Cowboy have to pick another coach, the main thing they want from their coach is the ability to protect the brand. That means stand out in front of the media, take all the hard questions, take all the criticisms, but never, ever, ever throw administration under the bus. Always say it's the player's fault. Always say it's the coach's fault. We got to execute better. You know, a lot of people say, why did Jason Garrett, how was he able to be the coach, 6, 7, 8 years and he never did nothing? You can say what you want to about Red J. Red J would stand out there and take some bullets. He would take them errors for the Joneses. He never said we got to get better talent on the team. He never said we shouldn't have let this player go. He never said we need to go, we need to improve. He would always say stuff like, we didn't execute, or we got to do better as coaches. And so I don't think Sean Payton is built like that. I don't think that I don't know a whole lot about Sean Payton. I know he was our offensive coordinator before he went to New Orleans. And I think that the ownership of New Orleans kind of stayed out of the way and let him, do a lot of things down there. That's the perception I have. Right. But don't think that just being able to call plays, just being able to coach football players is going to be what's going to get you as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You got to prove to Jerry. You got to prove to Cowboy. I'll stand out there. I'll take the blame. I'll say it's my fault. I heard Jason Garrett with an interview a couple of days ago. He ain't even the coach no more. He's still taking the blame while the Cowboys ain't winning. He's still talking about, I should have spoke up more. I should have been more vocal. It's a collaborative organization. He's still taking the blame, and he ain't even the coach no more. And that's the type of person that will be your next head coach. Now, it looks like Dan Quinn is a good candidate because he seems to be able to toe that company line and be talented enough to coach men should Mike McCarthy fall flat. So I just felt compelled to call in the Cowboys Nation and say, look, y'all, next time you see, this person may be traded for the Cowboys, don't buy it. They don't give up. Come on. Don't buy the hype. Don't buy the bullshit, like my boy Law would say. Yeah. And just because there are talented coaches out there, Lincoln Riley or whomever, don't think that person is a good fit in Dallas, because if that person can't play the politics, if he can't stand out there and show the willingness and the ability to protect the brand, he will not be your head coach. And cheap labor is, that's why they always drafting a hurt guy in the second, third, fourth, fifth round. So they say he first talent, but he dropped to the third round. He dropped to the fourth round. Oh man, they jump on that because they looking at it like, I'm getting a first round pick talent, and who cares about the sacrifice a year or two while he rehabbing his injury? But I'm getting this cheap labor, and Cowboy, he loved them 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. That's why he loved them comp picks, because the money that you have to pay a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick is significantly less than the money you pay a 1st and a 2nd round pick. And so you got to understand the game that's being played for us, Cowboys Nation, and that'll help keep you from buying some of this false hype out there. And some people say, they say, preacher, look, man, they say you taking away all my hope. They say you too negative, and I'm telling them, I said, no, I'm not negative. I understand that there are 3 ways that you can get a talented player on any football team. It's either through the draft, it's either through trade, or it's through free agency. And I'm saying all our eggs is in one nest, and that's the draft. So what we just got to do, we got to hope this Sam Williams kid hit. We got to hope that the Talbot kid can pull a rabbit out of a hat and learn how to run a real route tree. We just got to hope that our draft picks hit. If our draft picks hit, we can possibly be a competitive team. I think it's kind of a long shot. I think we more of a 10 and 17. That's just what it looks like on paper. We'll see how the play out. But that's what they have. They have a business model in place, and there are some things out there that just ain't gonna go against their model. Law, what you think? What you think about what I'm spitting at you?
Hey man, I appreciate you, and shout out to Mr. Smith, man, Stewart, for the donation there, help growing the nation. Here's my thoughts on all of this. By the way, Let me get this picture of Sam and Jalen Tolbert off of my screen right quick. Get off of here, man. Good information, man. I do believe that money answereth all things. Is that what the good book say?
That's what it say, bro.
That's what it say. So I think that Jerry Jones do have a brand that he like to have. He does understand that, hey, I can't have you selling in my name. I can't have you talking and belittling me. No. Now, you can talk about the players. You can talk about the furniture in the house, but don't talk about me and my son, or my daughter or what have you. So I do understand that we do live on the hope aspect of it right now. And I told people this, write this down as far as hope. Hold on. Pain is ending, so it's going to eventually go away. So we got the hope. I think that Dak Prescott is a leader out there. I think that's on the defensive side. Parsons is living in the mindset of, I'm now going to be the leader. My guy, J-Ron Kurtz, he was the green dot guy last season. That was his first year in the system. I think that with another year under his belt, he should be diagnosing everything a whole lot faster, quicker. So I think that this defense can get better. I already said my crazy bold prediction for the year is that Sam Williams can give us 12 sacks. So 4.4 speed is nothing to sneeze at. So I have a lot of hope for this team. But now is the time to wait to see how they're going to look when they put those pads on, and it's going to be in a couple of weeks here.
Hey, what I like to say is, what I'm hoping is the defense. Last year, coming into last year, everybody said we were going to have the worst defense in the league, that we were going to have to score 40 points a game to be competitive. Well, we found out we got some dogs on the defensive side of the ball. We didn't know Diggs was going to be where he turned out to be. We didn't know Parsons was going to be what he turned out to be.
Right.
We got some dogs. And so now I don't think we don't have the pressure to score 40 points a game. I think if we can rock out 24, 26, 28 points a game, we can be really competitive because we know where Parsons is. We know what we got much better coming into the season this year than we did last year. And so maybe Dak Prescott can check it down a little more. Maybe he can throw it away on third down. Maybe we can stay more patient with the running game. Those Niners teams, we didn't blow teams out in the first quarter. We wore them teams down because the defense was able to hold us in games. And I think they're going to be able to hold us in some games this year. And so you're right, we just got to wait and see how it rock out. But it's hope. But stop with the false hope. One last little thing I want to say is, they say, man, heart is where his treasure lie. And we see where the Joneses spend their money. They spend their money spending, marketing. They spend it on AT&T Stadium. They spend it, and so that's where their heart is. And that's okay. That's how they want to run it. That's how they run it. But we still them boys. And I think we're going to be competitive this year.
No doubt, man. Let's go. I'm going to put you down as just Meridian Cowboy because you always bring in that fire, man. Appreciate you, Preach.
You love to rock with you down here, Law. Keep it real, bro.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you.
All right.
Meridian Cowboy. I love home skillet, man. Meridian. Woo-wee. Everybody fast out there, Meridian, man. That track team was like just blazing during my era down that way. I'm from Natchez, Mississippi, by the way, but Meridian boys. We had a guy by the name of Greg Carter who was from that area, transferred to Natchez, what have you, the family moved to Natchez, and that joker was fast. We got the 910, you in?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well, I can't complain. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. This is Queen Cowboy Sport.
Okay.
And it might be a little noise because I'm at work.
Okay.
But, you know what, Laura? I believe that we have exactly what we need to go all the way and win it. I really do. At this point, everybody has the skills. Everybody has the ability. Everyone has the know-how. Mm-hmm. The next thing that we need the most is to have it in our minds that we are the best and that we can accomplish what we set our minds to. That's all I see. If we, take the noise that's coming out there in mainstream media and all the negativity out there on social media, and just let all that go over our shoulders or whatever. Them boys need to get out there, let them nuts hang loose, and
right.
just let it fly.
Let it fly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let it fly. And that's pretty much all I have to say. And you go Cowboys. And Lord, thank you for keeping me in a good state of mind while I'm at work every day.
Yeah, let's go. Let them hang. Yes, indeed.
Let them hang.
Let them hang. Yes, indeed. Appreciate you for calling in, Michelle. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, indeed. She said, let them hang sometimes. Sometimes you got them all trapped in, and then you can't get nothing free out there. You got to let them hang, swing on this beautiful Sunday. And that's what the Cowboys should do. Stop being so all uptight and just let them hang, Cowboy Nation. And I want you guys to hang in there too. This team, just keep in mind that this team, the way we operate, and look, matter of fact, I'm going to let her be the last caller of the day. Appreciate her so much for calling in. And this is the thing. That should be the thing. For the 2022 season, let them hang. Not how about them Cowboys, but let them hang. And for those who don't understand what we're saying, you'll catch on as you get older in life. You gotta let them hang, because the Cowboys been constricted for all of this time. They've been wrapped up all of this time. They've been sitting back in this situation saying, we worried about this, we worried about that. Nah. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. This is the thing. I want you guys to understand that we can't always look for the greatest and the best in every spot and position. I think it was my guy Asmodeus who's just said, hope is not a strategy. And he's 1,000,000% right. You got to have your strategy put into place. But also you got to understand that there is a situation where most of you guys got to understand to know that if you have faith and you mix that in with hope, and if you mix that in with hard work and determination, there is a situation that the grand creator will make the less qualified qualified. He will make the person that grind hard, that believe in themselves with the ability, as small as you are, can knock down any giant. But you got to have that heart. It got to be inside of you, Cowboy Nation, and everybody that's listening. So it don't matter how big you are or how small you are, but you got to let them hang. You got to be able to say, I'm entering into this thing boldly with grace and mercy, right? I'm looking at this thing with a clear view of things because I know what's inside of me. The craziest thing about it, when you know something and you have the ability to recall a thing, there's not a nervous bone in your body. Because if I poll you guys and I ask you, what's 2 + 2? You will say without any hesitation the answer. You won't be nervous and say 16. You won't be nervous and say, man, it's 5, right? You know the exact answer. It's 4. So I want you guys to understand this, that this particular team, whether we on the moon, whether or not we at our house or somebody's parking lot, they need to have that mindset that they know who they are and they knew how much pain, blood, sweat, and tears that they left out there on the field. This training camp, they got to make sure that everything is together, Cowboy Nation. I really appreciate you guys. There's one thing a man should always do. Mainly to himself be true. Never allow someone to change your point of view unless what they bring makes sense to you. Never judge a man by sight alone, nor by the height he has grown. And when speaking, keep it at a moderate tone, because raised voices turn hearts into stone. You see him in the beginning. It was, brother, I will ride with brother. How about them Cowboys, huh? But then there are those who will try to be smart. They will take a decent man and alter their heart till they seek to rip them apart. Those man, no man should call a friend, because they bend lies around the truth until they meet their end. Cowboy Nation, if you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all of your desires of it makes you quite mad enough that you don't get tired of it, and it makes you hold all of the things tawdry and cheap. If life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you will gladly go out there and sweat for it, fret for it, plead for it, and lose all terror of your mind for it, if you will simply, just simply go after the thing you want. If dogged and grim and besiege and beset it with the help of Almighty, you will get it. I was watching a short interview with prime time Deion Sanders and Desi. I think his last name is Banks. He's a comedian. And one of the things that really touched my heart is Prime said that he always knew that it was his time. Right? No matter what he did in life, he knew that it was going to be his time. He said that he wanted to retire his mom at the age of 7. And everything he touched turned into gold. Now, Prime is not my best Cowboy player of all time, but his words, his knowledge and wisdom, boy, poured upon me during that interview. Because he said he'd do things that he already knew that it was going to be accomplished because of his mind. So let that sink in at this time, Cowboy Nation. That's all the thoughts that I have for this beautiful episode. Y'all be sure to hit that like, share this content, let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboy Sports Talk NB. Yeah, and shout out to Prime Time for your mind. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. DC for life. Salute. Let's go. Yep. Appreciate all of you guys, man. Help me get to 80,000. That's the next goal. Let's get there one way or another. We going out there to auction. I can't wait to see y'all beautiful faces. Let's go.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on blinking, she icy. Freeze.
Let them hang, baby.
No photos.
Hey.
Jeez. No. Please. No photos.
Yep.
Hit the door and the dome just whole team here might need some.
Come on.
Young, but I move like a new deal to my lawyer. If you're down,
shout out to the super chat, Mr.
Different colors in my baggy light.
Yep.
Chalk it up. Talk of the town where you're talking up.
Appreciate it. He let them hang on me, man.
Get you new things in your pockets go. Run it up. I used to be quiet.
Put some fire on that thing. There's a roast over here too. Let's go. Let's run his name again.
Count up your blessings and run it up.
Hey.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice.
Come on.
I got wifey on blinging, she icy. Freeze. Photo. Please. No photos. No.
Shout out to you, Troy.
Please. No photos.
Shout out to all of my Cali Cowboys. Can't wait to see y'all next month. Let's go.
I get paid to stay away. I get paid on rainy days. I might make it rain today. I got paid off pain today.
Off pain.
Take the pain away. In my own lane,
finger roll, baby.
I would never sell my only soul. Heard your whole team was for sale.
Not
Put
ours.
this on the market for the low. Who the realest? We might never
Come
know.
on, y'all know who the
second,
realest
you gon'
is.
play a role.
Yeah.
You the world when they sign you up. Try you out and then they line you up. Ooh. Now you're looking hungry, ribs are touching, need some food.
Shout out to Chris, man. He said he's an Eagle fan, but he loved listening to a real teacher. Oh my gosh, man. You know what? I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate you.
Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on blinging, she freeze. Photo.
Turn me up.
No photos. No. Jeez. No. Please. No photos. Nowadays, nothing really excites me.
For those who entered in for the donation to help elevate the nation, I really appreciate you guys. You guys' name will be entered in to winning this particular camo Cowboy suit We going to war, baby. It's war time for your mind. Let it hang. I might have to have somebody put on the side, let it hang. You know, let them boys hang somewhere right here. Let them hang, baby. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's slow it down for everyone. I really appreciate you guys. And be sure to have a beautiful day. I know I will a little later on. Come on. In honor of Jason Garrett.
Take a drag of my cigarette. Breathe me out, breathe you in.
Yeah.
Take a bite of my burger, babe.
Hey, the Eagles. You know what? My guy said, where he at? Mr. Stewart said the Eagles just denounced him. Nah, see, he's the real one, Mr. Stewart, because here's the reason why. He's a bold enough Eagles fan to tell the truth, right? Because we know there's more Eagles fans up in here. They just don't want to say anything right now.
Play it too. I'll follow. Wherever you go, whatever you do, play it too.
I was born in it. Now, so the cocaine's happening.
7 years of a perfect love, 7 more and another one,
And another one.
and another one. Finding you was the one I loved. 7 wonders all in one, all in one. Don't let the street lights hit you all alone.
Don't let the street lights hit you, baby.
You know it's dangerous to go alone. Don't
All right,
let
I got it. LTH. Let me see LTH in the chat. That's going to be our new slogan. LTH. Hey.
whatever you do, play it too.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
If a paper crane can fly, then really doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far,
LTH.
so far. If a paper crane can fly, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on.
If you're watching and you have not hit that like, share, or subscribe to this content, come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing with yourself?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
You got to LTH with the nation, baby. You got to LTH. Come on now. Come on. You got to. LTH with the nation, baby. If not,
You have to be your biggest fan.
come on.
And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working,
Pray for rain, you gotta
but
deal
there's
with the mud
something
too.
inside of you that says,
LTH it, baby. Come on. LTH it, baby. Come on.
Shame. Shame.
You know what? I can't wait till like 4 or 5 weeks from now, and I'm gonna be like, LTH, and the people who have not watched this episode, they won't have the personal feelings that we know about LTH. Boy, we're gonna keep that in-house with the nation, LTH. We're gonna LTH it all the way to the Super Bowl. Let's go, baby. Ha ha! Watch LTH, baby. Let's go.
because you don't know who you're gonna meet. have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet.
You get nothing.
When you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud too.